When struggling with a long-time medical condition that could shorten a person's life, it could be time to call for support, which is exactly what Burlington resident Judy Wasserman has done. Judy was diagnosed with kidney disease back in 1989, and while she has been able to slow down the progress of the disease over the years, she is now seeking a kidney transplant and is asking for a donor to come to her aid.
I actually was put on the transplant list 5 years ago, and nothing happened, and I wasn't really ready right away. And in the past year, I was actually on the inactive part of the list because my numbers were so good. But now as I said, they've dropped, and it's time for a kidney transplant. And they're going to do what's called a preemptive transplant, which means we're going to go forward with a transplant while I'm still relatively healthy, which will then have a better outcome for the transplant itself. My symptoms are very, very tired most of the time, and lack of appetite, and I'm cold most of the time. I get the chills even in the middle of hot summer. I'll have the chills.
I love her. We've been doing this a long time. As long as she stays in the path that she's doing, her tiredness is something it is a problem. She's in bed every night by between 8 and 9 o'clock. She's good for 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and then afternoon she spends a lot of time lying down and resting and getting weighted on hand and foot.
By whom?
Judy is a graduate from Northeastern University with a degree in journalism. She has been the editor of multiple newspapers, including the Burlington Times-Union. Not only has she worked in journalism, but has also made a mark in Boston Public Schools as well. She was the director of the then-new Community Learning Center at the former Hamilton School in Brighton. She has been a paraprofessional educator and has also worked at the Children's Hospital. There is nothing Judy finds more satisfying than working with kids.
I love both jobs. It's weird, I love being in journalism, but I love being in the schools with the kids. I really do. I think it's one of the most rewarding things you can do. And so, working in Boston was a challenge. There were some children who were challenges, there's no question. But overall, there's nothing like getting a hug from a little kid.
In her years of retirement, Judy has been an active member of the Burlington community.
I've been a town meeting member for several years, for several terms, and I also was on the Burlington Historical Commission, and I was also on the Grandview Advisory Committee, and I was also on the executive board for the Friends of the Library.
If you or somebody you know is willing to donate a kidney or would like to spread the word of Judy's ongoing battle with kidney disease, here's where you can go.
There is a website that Brigham and Women's helped me establish. It's through the National Kidney Foundation also. nkr.org/PSD949. It explains a little bit of my story and then tells people how to learn more about donation and also if they're interested in registering is.
Only 14% of all transplants are live transplants. So it means it takes an awful lot of people to hear about it before you can find a possible donor, that someone who has the ability and the health and everything else to want to donate a kidney.
From the home of Judy and Steve Wasserman, this is John Vias for B News Weekly.